you so much for checking out this video. If you're watching this later, this was the waiting room for the State of Play about 007 First Light, so just enjoy the conversation. If you're watching this later, the co-stream of the State of Play 007 First Light will be a separate stream. I also played the first hour of Chronos The New Dawn today, so be sure to check that out. I think it's a good showcase of what you can expect from that game. Solid performance, graphics, immersion, sound, all of that. Very much a survival horror game. Just, be warned, it's that kind of game. So if you like or don't like those games, that'll help you make a decision about that. I'm going to end that stream and bring folks over with redirect. And then I'm going to make sure and change that thumbnail so that it's not listed as a live show any longer. And then I'm going to take a super duper duper quick break. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right. So, brand new stream, y'all. Brand new stream. Y'all came over. Make sure you are. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Okay. Let's get that like count up. A little bit of a different day. I wanted to start with Chronos: The New Dawn. Excuse me, because I felt like we could get in, get the first hour, let people see it. I'd like to do that for folks. We have a ton of those games, of those gameplay streams on the channel, where it's a whole playlist of new gameplay. It's like you just get to sample an hour, see if you like it, see if you don't. And then let me switch over here to State of Play 007. Today, let's just switch to just chatting. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I actually want to continue playing. I do. I want to continue playing. I want to see if the game can hook me. I do. Because those types of games, I remember playing Dead Space 3 with my friend and having a ball with it. And mainly because it was co-op. And I remember playing Callisto Protocol, and I just couldn't get into it. I just felt like the style and the method of making things like difficult and challenging, it's so hard for me to get immersed. How was Chronos? everything about it was great. It's just me and that genre don't really mix well. I'm hoping maybe that I can get past that. The dilemma that we're facing now is I've been trying to finish games about as efficiently as I can. Like I beat Death Stranding 2, then I beat First Berserker Kazan. I'm about to beat Shinobi Art of Vengeance so that tomorrow I can jump into Hollow Knight Silksong 2. I can't play every game, so I have to be very selective. I would love to finish that game. I would love to finish Metal Eden. And a 5-bomb comes in from Joker Quinn, and he rounds us out to 160. We were exactly 20 away from the next milestone. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn. You're the best. You liked Callisto Protocol. You couldn't beat the last boss. I tried to get back into Callisto Protocol when they made like the movement and the combat like allegedly better or whatever. And I just again felt like there were lots of instances where you just took damage. Like I remember there were these guys that would shoot from far away, and there were like jump scares that would hurt you. And I don't know. I couldn't get immersed when that kind of stuff was happening. You don't like survival horror games? I liked Dead Space 3 because I played it with my friend. I liked Resident Evil 7, and I liked Resident Evil 2 Remake. I think I liked that one. Wasn't a big fan of Resident Evil 8, and did not like I think it was like Resident Evil 4 Remake that everybody said was like immaculate, like everybody loved it. I couldn't get into it. To me, it's kind of like my relationship with Souls games. Like, I love Sekiro, but in general, like, I have a hard time getting into those games. They're just not my jam. Like, I've put over 100 hours in Returnal. I've put somewhere between 60 and 70 hours in Ghost of Tsushima. I haven't been able to put down Shinobi Art of Vengeance. And it's just like, I know what I like, and some games just don't pull me in. You know? Callisto's not as horrible as folks say. It just isn't groundbreaking. Very average game. Yeah, I thought Callisto Protocol was gorgeous, and I thought the voice acting was amazing. I thought that, again, similar to Chronos The New Dawn, like, the setting is so good. Like, they do such a great job. And then it just kind of, I don't know. It's hard to explain. It just, like, it kind of spits me out. It's like, I'm getting really, really immersed, and then all of a sudden I'm aware I'm playing a video game, if that makes sense. Like, as soon as I had to replay that environment with that monster that merged, I was like, this is why I don't get into these games, because, like, I'm not immersed or scared anymore. I'm now very aware I'm playing a video game. I've got to stay away. I've got to land really good shots. I've got to make sure, I do things in the right order. I got to make sure I conserve my ammo. I don't want to get hurt because I only have so many medkits. Like, all of a sudden, I'm very much in like video game mode. I remember when I really enjoyed Layers of Fear is one of my all-time favorite horror games that I've ever played, and I got into like a horror frame sort of kick. I wanted to play them, and people said, "Oh, play Outlast." And I got into a basement where I had to sneak past a guy, and he caught me a couple of times, and I wasn't immersed. I was like, I'm not immersed anymore. I'm playing a video game, and I didn't want to play it anymore. Layers of Fear 2 was like that. There were areas you could fail. Once you do that, I'm not immersed. I'm not scared. I'm trying to solve a puzzle in a video game. I'm trying to get past to something, and now it's over. I'm not going to enjoy myself. Because now the method of what makes the game so enjoyable has been broken, because I'm not getting scared. I'm not on the edge of my seat. I'm trying to beat some monster. Does that make sense? What was the difference between Resident Evil 2 and 4 that made you not like it? Something about the movement in Resident Evil 2 turned me off. I was super into it. Then I got to this area with like all these bridges, and I think it was like the tank controls. Is that what people call them? I felt very stiff, and I didn't feel good. Resident Evil 2 I felt was better for some reason in that department. That's part of the story. The monster has to be beat. I think that's the dilemma for me, is I don't take enjoyment out of it. There are people that love solving the puzzle. They're like, okay, in this encounter, they'll even like turn the difficulty up in some of these games. They're like, in this encounter, the boss is going to do this. He's on this side of the room. There's this weapon that I can use. I can run to this corner. I can do this. I can do that. They love solving that, and they take great enjoyment from it. And I don't. Do you feel like you're too critical on games? You'd have to give me an example of me being too critical. I'm just speaking my opinion about what I get enjoyment from and what I don't. I feel like you're trying to create a false narrative where I'm being too critical. I'm being honest about my preferences. I'm simply saying that, like, there are people that really enjoy that. I'm not one of those people. I feel like you have an agenda. Like, I don't feel like you're asking that question in good faith. Thank you, Rinsler, for 23 months. I appreciate it. Like, I don't feel like you're genuinely asking. I feel like you're asserting something with your question, because I actually think my memory is that you bring that air here. Like, you bring a negative air to the conversation, usually about me, not about like games or content. Like, leaving space for people that really, really like those games and praising it in certain areas, I feel like washing over that and being like, well, do you feel like you're too critical? I'm not even being critical. Like, I'm not even being critical. I'm explaining why I can't get immersed. It's a personal thing for me. It's a very, like, yeah, it's a me. I even said it earlier. It's a me and this genre problem. It's not a problem with the genre, if that makes sense. Would you say the bosses in these types of games should be beaten in one try or else the immersion breaks? No, see, I'm not being critical of the genre. You're trying to do the same thing that he was doing. You're putting something into the conversation that isn't there. You know what I mean? Right? Like, that's not present in the conversation. I've not said that you should be able to beat them in one try or the immersion breaks. See, that's forced negativity. I have simply said, for me personally, I'm on the edge of my seat, and then I have to solve how to beat the encounter or the boss or the whatever, and now I'm not immersed. I'm like, well, now I'm not scared, and that's why I play those games. Like, when I played Layers of Fear, when I played Resident Evil 7, I felt like I was terrified the whole time. Blood pumping, adrenaline going. The minute you break that, the minute you shatter that illusion, right? The minute you shatter that illusion, I'm not having a good time. I'm not saying that they shouldn't do that. I'm saying I don't really like those games. I'm not trying to do. I think what it is I enjoy the horror aspect more than the survival aspect. So when the survival aspect comes in and disrupts the horror, I'm not having a good time. If it's more on the horror side, a great example of this is Layers of Fear 1 versus Layers of Fear 2. Layers of Fear 1 is all about the horror. Layers of Fear 2, there are failable environments. There are things that can actually kill you. There was one where you're like running from a light or something, and if the light hits you, then you die. Well, now I'm not scared. Now I'm not freaked out. I'm like sitting here counting, like, okay, the light's going to pass. Okay, there it goes again. Okay, now I have to run. Okay, now I have to wait. Do you see? Like, I don't even think that gameplay in and of itself is that exciting. It's like, it's pretty basic if you break it down. So now I'm just engaging with what I feel like are pretty basic mechanics. So Layers of Fear 1 versus Layers of Fear 2, I think is a great example of what I'm talking about. And it's not a survival game, but I'm focusing on mechanics instead of just enjoying being scared. Like, because to me, if you're like, oh, come play this game, you've got to be really, really conserving of your ammo, your resources, your med kits, your blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, yeah, I'm okay. Like, that's not going to really appeal to me. And so the survival element kind of comes in a game like Callisto Protocol and in a game like Chronos. And now the thing that I was enjoying, I kind of have to set that aside. It's like, well, I'm not going to be scared. I'm not going to be on the edge of my seat. I'm trying to beat this enemy in a very sort of slow, methodical, and thought-out way. And my brain doesn't get satisfaction from that. It's like some people absolutely love playing chess against a chess master because they want it. Their brain gets satisfaction from like trying to solve it. I wouldn't. Like, I'm not wired that way. So I think in the same way, that would be true of these games, is once the pieces are on the board and I'm like trying to figure out the order of operation to beat an enemy, right? Like to survive an encounter, I'm not having a good time. And they put you right back typically in that game in particular that I just played, that first encounter, they put you right back there. So it's not like this massive setback where you're like, oh, frick, I had a bunch of my time wasted. It's, here, try it again. Callisto did the same thing. I feel like I would go into environments in Callisto. There was one environment in particular. You're in like a shower house. And if you fail it, it puts you like right there again. And you just kind of have to figure out the order that the enemies spawn in and who's going to come from where. And once I'm doing that, I don't take enjoyment from it. I'm not having a good time. Tension's always a better word for combat and survival horror. I don't feel the tension. I feel like it becomes a math equation for me. It's one of the reasons why RTSs, like real-time strategy games, I would always just play them with my buddy. We would just go on a money map. We would just like go on a money map and have a good time. And if I ever played against other players, I always felt like it was a math equation. It was like, do this in this order, this, and then, you kind of apply the math over and over again. And I don't get an enjoyment from that. And I think that's just a similar situation with these types of games. Is you're saying that's the thrill, solving the combat puzzle and item management. Yeah, I get no thrill from it at all. It's like people that get a thrill from, watching a certain sport. I don't. Like, there's just certain things that they just kind of go, boom, they just kind of like bounce off, and I don't get anything from them. RE4 Remake is more action while it is sluggish. RE2 Remake is way more sluggish and have less tools to combat the enemies. Yeah, I would say that a lot of the games that do these types of things, they excel within the genre, and that's why I'm the worst person to critique it. So that's why I said, like, I'm not being critical of the game. I'm making this very personal. I'm saying, for me personally, I struggle to get immersed in games like this. Like, I'm not being critical of the game. I even said, people that like this genre are probably going to really like Chronos: The New Dawn, because it's doing a great job at all of those things. The music, the tone, the graphics, the lighting, the use of sound, the ambiance of the game. I was like, they're nailing this. They're doing a great job within the genre. But then I basically say, like, I'm not cut out for this. My brain doesn't get into gear. It was like when I played the Silent Hill 2 remake. I was so bored. I was like, I'm not enjoying this. And the other people that are fans of the franchise are like, are you kidding me? This is so great. This is such a great treatment of a classic. And I was like, I'm bored. I'm not having a good time. It's like standing in the same spot in a horror house and the same guy comes out 20 times trying to scare you like the first time. It's kind of like that, right? If once you have to replay it, that happened to me in Outlast. Like, once I had to replay an environment over and over, it just doesn't work. That's what I was asking, if you were being too critical, or actually the game, or is that just your opinion? I don't have some stupid agenda. When someone phrases a question the way that you did, Donald, I'm going to assume the worst because you phrased the question in an accusatory way. Like, that's your fault. That's not my fault. Like, you did not ask the question, well, is this just your opinion, or do you think there's a problem with the genre? You literally said, do you feel like you are too critical on games, plural? Like, that's an accusatory question, brother. That's your fault for asking an accusatory question. I already had somebody get negative about the fact that I was only playing for an hour, which is typically what we do. We play a game for an hour. It goes into a playlist. It's a great first look at a game for people to check out. So, I already had people doing that in chat. And then you did the same thing. Stop assuming the worst. Everyone who may ask a question not in the right way. No, that's not how this works. That's not how this works. The way when you ask a question, if it has a baked-in accusation, if you bake in an accusation into your question, I'm going to take that question head on instead of just answering the question. There was no way for me to answer the question without affirming your accusation that I'm too critical on games. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm literally, as I'm speaking and saying, it's me, it's a me problem. I don't get into gear with this genre. I wasn't angry. I wasn't flustered. I didn't rage quit. I was just like, yeah, this genre and me don't really get along. And then you came in with an accusatory question like, what, do you think you're too hard on games? And it's like, no, I'm not being too hard on the game. Like I'm speaking my experience when I typically play these types of games. So I don't know. I just if you're going to ask a question that is also an accusation, that's your problem in communication. I can't read a question that accuses me of something and be like, oh, that's a good faith question, because it's not. A good faith question would be, are you taking issue with the genre, or is this just your personal opinion? And I would have been like, yeah, I've actually said that 8 times already, that I'm not criticizing the genre. I'm saying me personally, I struggle to get into gear when I play a survival horror game. Do you see, like, if the question immediately sounds bad faith when you're accusing the person when you're asking the question. That's the problem. I couldn't just answer the question. I had to immediately defend myself against your accusation. And so now we're not having a conversation where you're inquiring. You've put me into a defensive position. And I don't feel like that's the first time in recent weeks that you've done something like that. You take issue with taller people? Yes, I do. I commonly yell at them in public. I guess I'll say for clarity, so all my messages might be comprehended. I think Callisto Protocol isn't really a survival horror game. It maybe starts that way, but it doesn't stay that way. I mean, I don't know when it changes. I don't know if anybody would agree with you. I feel like it's generally considered a survival horror game. I don't know. Thank you, D Dizzle, with 47 months. I appreciate it. Silent Hill 2 was incredible, but it's not for everybody. I don't get mad if Lona doesn't vibe with it, or if somebody doesn't vibe with Alan Wake 2. Survival horror is one of my genres. Well, and I think that one of the best things you can do as a gamer is have that awareness of like what you like and what you don't like. So as far as like gameplay that we've featured on the channel, we have played a lot lately, actually. Whoops, I clicked on the wrong thing. So if I scroll all the way back to, let's see here. I'm scrolling down pretty far. Like, okay, Kazan rolled credits on it. Blueprints, played that a bunch with my wife. That's not really a game you roll credits on, but played it a bunch with my wife and thoroughly enjoyed it. Expedition 33 rolled credits. Days Gone, I love it. It's in my backlog. Midnight Walk rolled credits on it. Revenge of the Savage Planet, my wife and I are currently playing it 11 hours in. Doom the Dark Ages rolled credits, loved it. Blades of Fire's in the backlog because it's just a smaller title. I was trying to play bigger titles. Mario Kart World, I played that a bunch with my kiddos. Mind's Eye, we all know how that turned out. Alters is in the backlog. Death Stranding 2 rolled credits, loved it. Aeroxome, The Stolen Dream, backlog. Donkey Kong Bonanza, I want to go back to it. My wife and I were playing co-op, and it just got kind of silly. So we set it down, and we're enjoying Revenge of the Savage Planet more. Mafia: The Old Country, another one that I kind of put in the backlog. I felt like the pacing was a little off in the first 2 hours. Echoes of the End was pretty low quality. Hell Is Us demo, I loved everything but the combat. I feel like I'm in good company when I let a lot of reviews that said the same thing. Shinobi Art of Vengeance, I'm right about to roll credits on. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, not really for me. Lost Soul Aside, pretty low quality. I featured Hollow Knight to kind of show it to people in 2025. Loved that game, rolled credits on it a long time ago with 30 hours. So you see, like, that's a bunch of games where I would say 60% of them, I've finished them and enjoyed them. And then the others, I'm like, yeah, not so much. I would say when you play through that many games, expecting somebody to roll credits on all of them and like all of them is absurd. I don't think anybody would do that. I don't think anybody would play that eclectic of a collection of games and just like in every single one of them, 100% roll credits. Because I was loving the characters and the story in Mafia. I just thought the pacing was very strange. It's like a 10-hour game, and I was 2 hours in, and I felt like I had barely done anything. So, really quickly, guys, if you haven't hit the like button yet, hit the like button. We are waiting on the state of play, so try to get us to the first 100 likes. Thanks so much for being here. God of War 2018 and Spider-Man OG haven't held my attention as much as Ghost, so looking forward to Yote. Doc has Metal Eden gameplay upcoming. You beat him to it by a day. Yeah, Metal Eden's another one in my backlog. I think that game is really fun, and it doesn't feel like it would take too long to beat. I was really enjoying it yesterday. I feel like what ends up happening is I play a lot of different games to showcase them to the public, and people in bad faith misrepresent that and lie. And they say, well, he's a tourist. He doesn't finish games. And what they'll do is they'll only focus on the games that I play and put down. They will not focus on I think I've rolled credits on like 15-something games this year. Like, that's not bad for 9 months in, right? Especially because I spend a lot of the time doing a talk show. I spend a lot of my day recording and writing for the next day. I also coach both my kids' soccer teams. I'm involved at my church. I'm involved in my family life. Like, we're hanging out every evening. I feel like I have a pretty good, clip of completed games, even though my schedule is quite full. But people are just bad faith. They're just very dishonest. They'll just lie. They'll just flat out go out into the public and make up claims about me that, like, well, he never finishes games, and he's a tourist, and he always puts down games, and he sucks. And it's like, I just think that's a very weird thing to do. Like, I don't know why anybody would be keeping track. And the weird thing is they're not even keeping track. Like, you're not actually keeping track of the games that I finish and complete. You're misrepresenting the games that I finish and complete to drive some weird, like, false narrative about me. It's just bizarre. It's like, if we enjoy games and we're quote-unquote gamers, I don't know why you would care how many games I finish and how many games I don't. Like, that's a weird thing to keep track of. That's just bizarre behavior that doesn't make much sense. What exclusive games are PlayStation showing at the State of Play today? It's not that kind of State of Play. It's like when they did the Borderlands one. It's going to focus on the 007 game. Apparently Chronos on PC runs terribly. Well, that's not good to hear. It ran fine for me. I didn't have any... Well, I mean, I didn't get super far. Maybe it gets worse the further you go. Maybe it gets worse the further you go. Bizarre behavior in the gaming community. Say it ain't so, right, Purple? Yeah, like, there are people who only play the sports games and only play COD, and like, I would say they're a gamer. There are people that live in Fortnite and Apex, and they're not playing all these new games that come out. I would say they're gamers. Like, you don't need to play every game that comes out. You know what I mean? It's just, everybody's got the things they like, and I say like them. Have a good time. Agreed they're not keeping track correctly, but I think it's valid to track a commentator in the industry's play history and time. I mean, it depends, though, Hilly. Like, what's their brand and what's their identity? If their brand and their identity is like, breaking down industry trends, revenue reports, maybe they're breaking down tech, and they're covering gaming from that perspective, I don't need that person to be rolling credits on a game every week. I need them to be well informed on what they're talking about. Does that make sense? Like, if somebody is claiming to be, like a channel that's about Souls games, and they don't actually beat them or play them, I think you have a valid point, but I think that would be very bizarre. Like, how would they even make the videos? I don't think there's like a creator out there who's like making videos about games who actively is just like not playing games. I just don't think that's the facts. Like, let's take Bellular, for example. I think his gaming news coverage is exceptionally well done. Very, very good. I don't care how many credits he rolls in a year. He does great research. He does very good reporting. He's very informative. I don't go to Bellular to be like, well, let me trophy check this guy. Like, I'm like, no, his videos are very informative. Like, same with SkillUp. I like SkillUp's content. He's probably not rolling credits on tons of games because he spends so much time in one game so that he can review it. So he's obviously not going to be like clocking in, oh yeah, I finished 4 games this month. He probably worked on 1, maybe 2, because of what he brings to the table. Oh, let me fix that, Wilbur. Thank you, Alapark with 28 months. Says, for the gamers. Thank you so much, Alapark. So I don't know if there's an actual content creator out there that's doing this, where like they're, you know, I would say there are some of the channels that are just like rage farming that don't play games like at all. But even some of them, I feel like they're regularly streaming games and playing games. You know? I also value the feedback of someone with 2,000 hours over 12. No, I think it depends. It depends on what the feedback is. If they're doing a breakdown of the systems, the guy with 2,000 hours is going to be more informed. Like if I break down the systems in Returnal, I'm going to do a better job than somebody who's only played Returnal for 10 hours because I'm bringing information to the table. But if somebody played Returnal for 10 hours and said that they didn't like it and they provide all the reasons why, that feedback is super valuable because you might be exactly like them, right? You might be exactly like them. So if they're like, yeah, I didn't like Returnal and here's the 6 reasons why, you might be like, well, you only played for 10 hours. Just listen to their reasons. They might actually have really good reasons, and you might be like, oh, I'm a lot like you. I probably won't like that game either. Like, their information and feedback can be valuable if it's viewed within the context of, like, what they're saying. Like, if I put down, like, when I put down Callisto Protocol, and I gave the reasons why, somebody may be like, well, you didn't roll credit, so your feedback's invalid. It's like, well, no, my feedback's quite valid. It can inform somebody else who thinks similarly to me, and they might avoid Callisto because they're like, yeah, I'm not going to like it. Like, them getting information from somebody who, like, played, 4 playthroughs of Callisto and loves it, they might get feedback that's unhelpful because that person's going to be over the moon and talking about how amazing the game is, and it may make them think that they're going to like it when they might ultimately not like it. Like, sometimes you have to make up your own mind. But, like, I know for a fact I don't like XCOM and RTS style games or games like Frostpunk where like you're like surviving in a village. So like if somebody tried one for the first time and they said, I didn't really like it, the content loop, this, that, and the third felt really redundant and I felt very like overly punished and stressed out, I'd be like, yeah, that's helpful information because I feel the same way when I play those games, if that makes sense. Alapark with 37 months in a VIP on YouTube. The only time it's appropriate to double dip. Thank you for the double dipping. And 27 months from Brett. Top of the morning, Lono. Have you checked out the new Helldivers content or not likely to get around to it? I have not had time because I've been working on, I really wanted to beat Shinobi. That's 165. We are an exact 10 bomb away from the next milestone. Let's see somebody steal this right now, whether it's Twitch or YouTube. I was working to finish Death Stranding 2, which I did, then First Berserker Kazan, which I did, and now I'm working through Shinobi Art of Vengeance, and I'm going to roll credits on that. I'm very close to the end. I've got 100% on almost all the areas, and I'll get that done before Silksong tomorrow. And then I'm going to be knee-deep in Silksong. Then I'm going to be knee-deep in Borderlands with my wife. That's going to be a blast. So I have not had a chance to check out the Helldivers content. Thank you so much for 13 months, Crusade. Is there any games you love so much you play it again every once in a while? I do that with Returnal, yeah. Like, just recently, I went on a kick where I was just, every night, I was just hanging out in the Tower of Sisyphus, unlocking perks. I just love that game. I just love to be in that game. A lot of games I can't do that with because they're not really set up for it. You can't just casually restart a playthrough of Ghost of Tsushima or Hellblade 1 or Sekiro, like some of my all-time favorite games. You can't just like casually be like, I'm just going to check those games out. But like, that's the beauty of Returnal with Tower of Sisyphus. You can just like do a run and just have fun. You can do the daily challenge and just have fun. There are certain games that, you have these fond memories of, and I think it's difficult sometimes to just go back to them because it's almost this it's this insurmountable task, you know, to just, let me just spin up a new playthrough of Tsushima. That's not an easy thing to do, especially with like Yote's around the corner, and I played some pretty big games this year that took a chunk of my time, like Expedition 33 or Death Stranding 2 or First Berserker Kazan. You know, a lot of these games took a chunk of my time to finish. Well, Hellblade, you can't. It's only 5 hours long. Shut up, Trill. Game genre is a huge factor for replayability. Yeah, Returnal works because it's a rogue. Even if they never added Tower of Sisyphus, you can do it with Returnal because it's a rogue. You can just kind of jump in and do a run. I haven't played it yet, but does the God of War Valhalla DLC? Yeah. Yes, because it's a rogue, for sure. Now, there's a story in it that's actually exceptional. And once you're done with that story, you might not feel the draw to go back in. But if you really like God of War's combat, yes, Valhalla really gives great replay value. I agree with that now as a 37-year-old man, but when I was a 14-year-old kid, I replayed the crap out of KOTOR. It depends on your schedule for sure, Sven. I'm sorry, Sven. It depends on your schedule. I do think sometimes your life situation determines what you can give attention to, you know. Thank you, Odin Arrow, for 27 months, over 2 years already. Progress, not perfection alone. Keep up the good work. Thank you guys so much. Guys, I don't have a word from our sponsor because we don't do almost any sponsored content, but I will say this: you guys are the sponsors of the content. So if you enjoy the content and $6 a month is something you can swing, hit the join button and consider signing up for Member Plus. It gets you into morning coffee. That's how we start the day. That is a paid-for feature now. Green Room, as well as the Discord. The State of Play is at 2 Eastern. We'll go over at 1:30, which means I need to schedule at like 12:46. Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoyed the Midnight Walk. The Midnight Walk has some scenes in it where the music is just exceptional. And I didn't even try it on PSVR 2. I just played it through normal, and I loved it. I thought the Midnight Walk was just so enjoyable. Great little art style. Very, very cool little game. If I do a top 10 list this year, I don't know. It might sneak into the top 10. It's going to be a tough year. It's going to be a tough year to pick games for a top 10. Shinobi Art of Vengeance is definitely on that list, though. I have thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. I have like very, very minor criticisms. It's landing as like a 9, almost a 9.5 right now for me. Just harkens back to just such a great time in gaming. And they've really, really done the genre and the style and everything. They've just done it so much justice. It's a very, very good game. You almost need an indie top 10 list. I don't know if I played enough indies. It would just be like the indies I played this year. What's your top 5 so far? Expedition 33 is in the number 1 spot. Death Stranding 2 is probably going to be in number 2 until Yote comes out. Shinobi's up there. Kazan's up there. What else did I play that I just enjoyed so much? I played so many. Sega's an indie. It's hard to call that an indie, isn't it? I'm trying to think of all the games I finished. It gets a little confusing because I did loop back on Death Stranding 1, and I did loop back on Final Fantasy 16, and I did loop back on Plague Tale Requiem. Those are all games I finished this year because I wanted to work through my backlog, but those didn't come out this year. AC Shadows. I liked AC Shadows until I didn't. Like I was just so into it. I felt like I was back in Tsushima a little bit, and then I got so burnt out on the story. I was ready to be done. Yeah. Yeah, the whole indie game. I'm gonna try Ninja Gaiden Ragebound after I finish Shinobi. Yeah, I saw you ask me about that, Mike, on a mic. I haven't taken a look at it to see. My worry with Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is that I feel like it would end up. It looks like it would have that dated feel that I wouldn't like. There was a game that I played There was a game that I played, what was it called? The deep dive's in like 2 hours. Yeah, Shinobi's a must play. Shinobi is so stinking good. Here, let me get this off. Yeah, like this, after playing Shinobi, I love that they did this, but I feel like I wouldn't enjoy this. This is kind of like when I tried to play Axiom Verge. Like, I love Metroidvanias, but Axiom Verge felt like I was playing a Super Nintendo game. It didn't feel like I was playing a modern game. And after coming from Shinobi, that's what this looks like. It looks very rigid. It looks very much on a grid, like you're moving on a grid. And I have a really hard time playing a game where that's how it feels. So, after playing Shinobi, I couldn't. Yeah, I don't feel like I would enjoy that after playing Shinobi. Like, Shinobi Art of Vengeance is arguably one of the best platformers I've ever played. It's up there with Ori, Hollow Knight. It's up there with Prince of Persia and the Lost Crown. It's just excellent. It's so freaking good. Ragebound looks like I would get annoyed very quickly with the rigidity of it, if that makes sense. Yeah, Rogue Prince of Persia is really enjoyable. Yeah, Perfect Image, thank you for 22 months on a gifted member. Says, good morning, bro. Keep it up, Lono. Can't wait for Project 007, Ghost 2, GTA 6. In the meantime, playing GTA Online, Career Progress Trophy, hunting Mafia Low Country. Well, thank you so much for being here that long. Some of you guys have asked, like, what is Bad Cheese? Bad Cheese is like an old-timey Steamboat Willie game. It's like a horror game. And you can make Madam play it if you guys get the stretch goal this week, which we're pretty far behind again on the weekly. That's okay. You guys seemingly kind of surge back on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, so we'll see. These are good days to go crazy. It's also September on Twitch, and they have been leading the charge today. They're beating. Too many games to play, and Silksong comes out tomorrow. That's what I'm saying. Like, I am really glad I've stayed diligent on Shinobi. I'm like right at the end. It's going to feel so satisfying to like roll credits. I've 100%ed all the areas. I've got all the stuff. I'm ready. I'm ready to jump into Silksong. How much longer to the deep dive? 2 hours. 2 hours. So if you guys are tuning in for the State of Play 007 First Light Deep Dive, that'll be happening in 2 hours. This is a waiting room where we're just chilling. Finish it now. No, I don't want to play a game in a waiting room. That doesn't really work. We're doing it. This is meant to be like a talk show, like a hang out and vibe and, you know, talk about the year and the games and everything. How long is Shinobi? I think if you go through it really straight lined, it's like 10. If you take your time and you 100% everything and like clear all the areas, anywhere from 15 to 20. Yeah, anywhere from about 15 to 20 hours. I got Shinobi and Rogue Prince getting Silksong and Sworn this month. I was really enjoying Rogue Prince of Persia, but I had to go back to Shinobi because I wanted to finish it. But yeah, Rogue Prince of Persia is excellent. If you like rogues and you like that kind of movement and stuff. What about Chronos: The New Dawn? I played it for an hour this morning. I give it high marks for, you know, audio, graphics, the setting of the tone and all that. I'm just not really big on the survival horror genre. It doesn't really hook me. I would like to go back to it and see if it can hook me. So we'll see. But with Silksong tomorrow and Borderlands next week, it's going to be very, very difficult for me to go back to anything right now that I'm trying to finish. And then Yote's October 2nd. Yote's a month away. I have a month to get through Silksong and Borderlands 4. That's going to be difficult in and of itself to prepare for Yote. It's just, yeah. You got 30 hours in Shinobi? Yeah, you are. I think you meant to put lagging. Yeah, you're lagging big time. That final Rift, did you see that Rift gameplay I put on Twitter, Loeb? I think you replied. Good golly, that final Rift is insane. Guapzilla was like, oh, I beat this in the demo. I'm like, this wasn't in the demo. It's like 5 minutes. It takes 5 minutes to clear the rift. You're going to be in there for a minute. I mean, it takes 5 minutes to clear the rift when, like, you don't make any mistakes. Like, that's a flaw. I think it's not a flawless run. I take damage, but I don't think I ever go back. I don't think I ever die and reset. Are you walking everywhere? Those rifts are ridiculous. Yeah. I don't know if I ever die in that footage. I don't know if I ever go back. I've not watched it since so this is 4.5 minutes. This is the final rift when you get the dark katana. And I don't know if I ever labbing. What's labbing? I don't know what that is. I just assumed since B and G were close together that you made a mistake. You're prepared for platforming now, unless they make Path of Pain 2. Yeah, that little slip there gave me a bit of a heart attack. That wasn't the first time I slipped there either. This one could frustrate you because you got to slide down and get that platform, and if you don't see it, it's like, wait, what am I supposed to do? And here you just have to trust that the next one's coming. Here's another one where it's really tough because you can't see. So I just did a glide. I saved it. It was a bad jump, and I saved it with the glide. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe I haven't been using glide because I used it there. Another jump that I saved, I wasn't going to make it. Okay, so this is the fight. And there's a rift with the fight that's much harder than this. So as fights go in a rift, this one's actually not too hard. But you want to get rid of the healing guy, and then I use him for health. I didn't need any. You got to get rid of the storm chick, and then use her for health and coins, or shurikens if you need it. These guys you want to do the jump on, because they're stupid annoying with their dumb little shield that they do. I think I take quite a bit of damage coming up, though, because those rockets are super hard to get away from. But I think I break his shield here. Yeah, there. And then the rocket still gets you. The slowdown on shield breaks can be a little frustrating at times because, like, I feel like I have a window to... get out of the way. But then, because it's in a slowdown, like, I don't feel like it lets you. You're a strong platformer. I appreciate the compliment. I mean, these are, like, my favorite kind of games. Like, I absolutely loved Ori 1 and 2 and Hollow Knight, and I loved Sundered. I loved Prince of Persia. I jacked that one up. Yeah. This is such an awkward fight because of his attack telegraphs, because he covers the whole platform. So you you can't roll through the purple. You have to jump over the purple. So here I was just kind of like trying to wait for him, and then I kind of figured it out, but then you accidentally mantle. So it's a bit of an awkward fight. And then it's an easy finish. It's an easy finish. You just have like these little guys, and then you have this stupid dog that like shoots fire at you. Now, this is basically the halfway point of the rift, okay? If you die in the next section to a spike, you'll come back to this spot with a little bit of your health gone. If you die to the fire that's coming up from beneath you, it resets the entire rift. So prepare for rage if the fricking fire gets you, because it got me and I had to rerun the entire rift. That's what this is because see, the fire's at the bottom of the screen now. So if you fall and hit that fire, you're going to be salty. A tip that I would give you for this section with these stupid saw blades is when you get to the section where the saw blades are moving, don't be afraid to let go and drop a little bit to reset like I do right here, and then I'm able to reset to go up the middle. And this next section is honestly, I think, harder because it's basic jumps, but the intensity of the rising fire absolutely makes you play poorly if you're not careful. And then here, it's all about the quickness, because you got to get into those, And then on this last one, use the glide to line up your slam perfectly, and then you're home free. That's it. That's 4.5 minutes. And if the fire gets you, you got to start all the way over. So don't let the fire get you. It was super frustrating because, like, when the spikes get you, you go back. Have you played with the Dark Katana? Yeah. It's quite a bit stronger. I think that's one of the reasons I beat the last. It's not the last boss, but I beat him my first try. And I think it's because I did the rifts to have the Dark Katana. If you fight him without the Dark Katana, I bet you it's a harder fight. What's his name? Let me see. Let me see if I can get his name. I don't know if his name's going to pop up. Oh, yeah, it'll pop up here. So it's this guy. This guy here. I beat him my first try. I'm watching on my phone because I'm watching through the PlayStation app. Kojima is his name. I beat him first try. It's probably because I have the Dark Katana and my damage output was so much higher. I mean, I freaking roasted him. So I think you'd enjoy Messenger as well, developed by Sabotage Studios. Have you seen The Path of Pain and Hollow Knight, Lono? It's an insane platforming challenge. No, I have not seen that. Typically, I'll be honest with you. Typically, if the platforming gets really, really painful and frustrating, I'll skip it if it's optional. And Prince of Persia, that happened a couple of times. I was like, I don't want to freaking do this. But in Shinobi, I really, really liked it. Also, there was such a clear benefit. It was like, well, I got to get this last fragment. You know, it also gives you the 100% on the map. And it's like, if that's the only thing you haven't done, you know what I mean? Looks like we have to fight him again. Yeah, I'm assuming I was going to have to fight him again. My daughter watched me beat him. And I was like, I just beat him first try. And she was like, I thought he was going to have a second phase. She's 11. And she already understands the concept of like, that seemed a little too easy. There's going to be a second phase. I was like, got a gamer here, boys. You know? Too clumsy for things like that. Looks awesome though. Yeah. I've said this about, you know, Ori and Rayman. I've said, look, the intensity can be ratcheted up quite a bit if you give the player power to get right back into it. Like something that Rayman did is if it was a super intense area, it would start you over right there. Right? Super helpful. And then if you were doing in Ori and you knew there was a tough section coming up, you could like literally put the checkpoint right there. You could like make your own checkpoints. And I always argued that really, really gives that gives the devs a lot of freedom to increase the intensity. Like, you can throw the kitchen sink at me if you let me just retry it. But if I gotta like retread through this and get past enemies to get to your challenging section, that's when I think you start to really stretch the player to a breaking point where like, I don't want to do this. So that was one thing I really liked about Rayman Legends and Ori. They would have a really challenging section, and they would put you like right back there where the crazy section was. Like in Ori, they would do it for like if you're running from the fire, the lava, or the water, they would put you like right back in it. So this looks cool, very cheap on Steam. Hilly, I didn't see this. Hang on, what is this? Oh yeah, Abyssus. Yeah. I think Abyssus is on my my wish list because I believe it's a co-op game. I believe Abyssus is on my wish list. Yeah, it's already on my wish list. It currently has a 90% on Steam. and it has online co-op. I was hoping that it would come to the PlayStation Store. It's a PC-only title currently. At this point, Abyssus has only been confirmed for PC. No announcements have been made for PlayStation. So, they released it August, so middle of last month. I don't know if they did early access. Oh, here's a roadmap. So the roadmap is they did 1.0. There's a 1.1, 1.2, and a 1.3. So they're going to add weapons, arenas, gods, updated progression, and more. Infinite mode is going to be something they're working on. Random order mode is something that they're working on. So it doesn't seem like Abyssus is currently looking at console. So fall, winter in 2026. So new area, new god, updated progression, and more. Winter, they said, and a little surprise we're cooking. I mean, maybe that's a console release. You know what I mean? What time's the gameplay dropping? In 2 hours. You guys can watch it here. We'll switch to a co-stream in about an hour and a half. See the shrinkflation of the PS5 SSD. How much smaller is it going to be? I saw that this morning, but I didn't have time to read the article. There people were putting in the Discord, and I saw it, and I was making my thumbnail and stuff. I had to make multiple thumbnails for today. How much? It's just back to the OG size. 825 gig. Wait, what do you mean OG size? So did they make it bigger for a time? I don't understand. 825 gig. What is it right now if you buy a digital? Oh, the launch model was 825. Oh, they bumped it to 1 terabyte. Okay. That's unfortunate. Did they announce that there will be more than 007? They did not. They said it's going to be 30... they announced it's going to be 30 minutes of gameplay, though. So probably just that. Yeah. That's super lame. I'm curious if they're trying to combat inflation and tariffs. You know? Because they tried to hold off on raising the price. They shored up stock in America, and it happened anyway. They could be facing similar problems where they're like, listen, we can shave off, a little bit of cost per unit by going down to an 825 versus a 1 terabyte. Anyone else wanting Saros to be the next place in state? I believe, and this has been my prediction, Yelgler, is that we won't get anything on Saros until after Yote releases. So Yote is going to release October the 2nd. I wouldn't be surprised if 2 weeks later we either get the state of play and the deep dive into Saros, or we get an announcement like that. That's just been kind of the way they kind of operate, is they kind of wait until they want to wait until the big thing is out, and then once the big thing is out, then they'll start talking about the next thing. $825 was the base PS5? Yes. $825 was the base PS5. Yeah. They're saying it's in Europe. Digital Slim from 1 terabyte to 825 gig. Again, to keep pricing at €499. Only thing is, Europe isn't affected by the tariffs. China, Europe, no US is involved. It's not necessarily if your country is affected by the tariffs or not. It's production of the units is affected by the tariffs. So it's not like, hey, we're not affected, this is bogus. It's that Sony is having to ship, produce, and make these devices in places where they are getting hit. That's why when they had a shored up stock in America, they sold through that, and then they're like, well, now we got to raise the price. Right? So, like, there's not They didn't like put a tariff on America, and yet America's prices went up. Does that make sense? Like, the devices themselves are the issue, like where they're produced, where they're shipped, where all the pieces and parts come from. That's been the issue, is that you're disrupting all those production lines and creating increased cost for the companies. We aren't affected from the tariffs as long as stuff doesn't come from US. Yeah, I don't think you're listening to what I'm saying. PlayStation's cost per unit is being affected because of where the game systems are made and where the parts are ordered from, shipped, and moved around. That's what's affecting the cost of the device. It doesn't matter where you live. Their operating cost per unit is the difficulty that they're dealing with. It doesn't matter where you live. To be like, oh, we're not affected. Yes, you are. Any items produced in countries where those tariffs exist, their prices are going up. It was like where Nintendo was trying to avoid it by moving production to Vietnam. It had nothing to do with where you live and where you were going to buy your Nintendo. It was where they made them. That was the issue that they were trying to get around. If you guys are waiting for the state of play, we will be watching it in about an hour and 15 minutes. We'll be switching gears to watch it. This is just a waiting room for it. All of my materials that I purchase at work are affected because of the tariffs, and my business is in the UK. I have flawless gameplay with xCloud and GeForce Now. Your experience is flawless. Extremely hyped for a huge jump with GeForce Now RTX 5080 and install to play. That's going to be huge. I mean, I'm glad you enjoy cloud gaming. I don't know if anybody is getting a flawless experience with cloud gaming. That doesn't seem to be in line with reality. I mean, you're having a good experience, and that's great. I'm not going to question anybody having a good experience with cloud, but it's difficult for me to believe anybody's having a flawless experience with cloud gaming. I don't know. Let's wait until the 13th of September. It said that date it will be announced. Oh, you're saying wait until then? Oh, I mean, if they're trying to get around, raising prices by giving you a slightly smaller hard drive, I mean, they're doing what they can. I mean, they were anticipating it, taking a hit, not being able to drop price on the unit halfway through the gen. They weren't able to do that. So let's see. So 007's not coming out until next year, but we are going to get 30 minutes of gameplay. So I'm curious, of all the games still coming this year, what's the game you're looking forward to the most? For me, I'm really torn between Silksong, Borderlands 4, and Yote. Like, obviously, I think Yote's at the lead, but still, Silksong and Borderlands are, man, they're up there. I'm very, very excited about those games. Guys, very quickly, if you haven't done so, hit that like button. Try to get us to 200 likes. We were on a great move there, and then something happened on YouTube, and we haven't really recovered since. I'm pausing the things that typically cause disruption, so maybe let's put some defib paddles on this thing and see if we can't get that like button to get hit. Yote with Silksong is a close second. Borderlands 4 and Yote, Borderlands 4, and it isn't even close, really. Man. Cloud gaming thing is so person to person and region to region. Works fantastic for me. My brother who lives in the next town over, absolute mess for him. Yeah, I mean, if you have a good experience with cloud gaming, that doesn't surprise me at all. I think it would be difficult to be like, it's flawless. Even people who have had good experiences with like the Portal and stuff are like, it's not flawless. Okay, so we got a Battlefield 6 and Yote, says Fanta. Somebody saying Silent Hill F. Ninja Gaiden 4. Borderlands 4, Yote and Skate, says Rogue Necro. Just watching your Chronos gameplay looks promising. I think for people who like that genre, I think they're going to have a great time with it. I think they really, just the opening, I think they did a really good job with. You're looking forward to see what Starfield will bring this winter. I'm really curious what their plans are. They have gone kind of dark for a while. And Joker Quinn's going to bump the gifted line to 168. We have been a little slow this week, but we were slow last week, and then we came surging back. Those milestones are still every 25. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn, for nudging it in the right direction. See if we can't get some folks. If you guys have renewals to celebrate, primes, make sure and always check your primes on Purple. No Man's Sky does it like Bethesda should be doing with Starfield. I haven't played Starfield in over a year, but No Man's Sky keeps pulling me in. Yeah, No Man's Sky's recent update was ridiculous. I mean, it truly was. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. I couldn't believe what they pulled off. Gonna take it easy until Yote comes out, says Jack. I'm just excited for games in general, says Dirge. Yote is a big one for me. Other than that, I'm just gonna be broke playing all these games. Why people are always comparing that game is exhausting. Well, I mean, it's kind of like how people are going to compare Yote to AC Shadows, you know? Very different games with very different approaches, but people are going to compare them, brother. I mean, if you're wanting to have an experience of exploring outer space at a very generic level, that's what both games offer. Now, they offer it in completely different ways. So, like, do you want to play as a samurai? Both Yote and AC Shadows offer that in very different ways. So, well, not even a samurai in Yote. I mean, she's a mercenary. She's not even following the way of the samurai. She's just a mercenary. She's just a warrior. An RPG is an RPG. Well, but again, I think you're glossing over some pretty significant things. I get what you're saying. And a 10 bomb comes in from D487, and he secures the next milestone for YouTube. I owe you guys a single over here on YouTube. Thank you so much. That's going to make this a 25-20. I forgot to add the one from Joker. So there it is. YouTube takes the lead from Purple. Like, I get what you're saying. I do. But both games are saying, would you like to explore outer space? Yes, I would. Okay, would you like it to be more of an RPG with, like, dialogue systems? Or would you want it to be more of an, open universe sim with minor, RPG elements? But then if you look at the ship crafting that they just launched in No Man's Sky, I don't know. I feel like a lot of the territory that Starfield occupies starts to get encroached on. And I think people might start to say, like, this is a better game. This does a better job at this fantasy that people want to enjoy. Now, that doesn't make them factually correct. It just means that, like, that's, I think, people's opinion. Like, if I want to go into outer space, one of these games is delivering something that is of an insane level of excellence and quality, and they're constantly adding content. And then there's the expeditions. And then the other feels pretty dated, like an RPG from a bygone era that feels very much stuck. AC Shadows is an RPG. Yote is just action adventure. But people are still comparing AC Shadows and Ghost of Yote. What makes you think that AC Shadows is an RPG and that Yote is just action adventure? Because I don't feel like the RPG elements are very strong in AC Shadows. As space exploration, No Man's Sky spanked Starfield. If you want any kind of story, NPCs, etc., there is Starfield. I saw a video where a guy thinks the new Skyrim will be procedural. What PlayStation Studio game or franchise do you think is the worst? For me, it's Horizon. I don't get the hype for the franchise. I find it boring. I think it's phenomenal. I can't pick a franchise that I think is the worst. I think all their franchises are ridiculously strong. I mean, maybe like an older one that I'm less interested in, like Sackboy or something, but even that, I enjoyed playing through Sackboy with my wife quite a bit. The thing with Horizon that I find interesting is that people try to downplay it, and it's like one of their most successful franchises out there. I'm not saying you have to like it. I get why people don't like it. I do. I don't think everybody, is going to be like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest game ever. But, I mean, it's a high quality game. And in the realm of a new IP, I mean, they did an incredible job with it. I like the rest of them, just not a fan of Horizon. I mean, I will tell you that from a big perspective here, the one that I felt like hit me the least was Spider-Man 1. No, I'm sorry, Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 was probably my weakest experience this gen. Technically impressive and fun, but I thought the story was better in Spider-Man 1. And Stone Spire is setting up a 20 bomb. Let's see if anybody takes the bait. He just did 2 singles, a 20 bomb all the way to 200, and buddy, do we need it. We got to play some catch up, and Stone Spire is stoking the fires. Whoever hits it gets it, whether it's Twitch or YouTube first. Let's see. Or band together, all of you, like Voltron, and hit it. We got 20 to the next milestone. Yeah, I felt like Spider-Man 2... You loved it, Jay? Yeah, I'm just saying from my perspective, this is just my experience. I felt like Spider-Man 2 was the weakest. The story was fine. I felt like the Mary Jane Wick sections were stupid. Venom wasn't utilized enough. I felt like Kraven was stupid and throwaway. Yeah, I just didn't think the story was as strong. I thought the story was particularly strong in Spider-Man 1. I think that it was very, very good in Spider-Man 1. But I still loved Spider-Man 2. I'm just saying it was my weakest experience this gen. My strongest experience was Returnal. I think Returnal is still their best game this gen. I think it's their most impressive game. I thought Ragnarok was great continuation. Forbidden West, great continuation. Spider-Man 2, great continuation. All of those have been great. Astrobot was so charming and fun. I still think that Returnal is their best game this gen. It's new, it's fresh, it's unique, it's just phenomenally built. It is so enjoyable. Returnal will ruin other games for you that, like, if you're like trying to zip around and move around and feel like this sense of fluidity, Returnal will ruin those games for you. It's just so well built. And just so enjoyable. So, like, but again, that's just my perspective and my opinion. Like, I would say the only thing that is basically up there with Returnal with respect to quality as far as like the tech goes is Death Stranding 2. Like, Death Stranding 2 is very impressive from a technical aspect. It's beautiful. It's well built. It's a gorgeous game. It's almost unreal how realistic that game looks. And then I think Yote is going to be the next one to be like, oh my gosh, this game's going to be, so incredible. Like, I think Yote looks very, very good. I still wonder if I'm going to fall back and be like, Returnal is still the best game. Because Yote is just going to be a great evolution and continuation of Tsushima, which is not a bad thing. It isn't. But Returnal there's just something special about Returnal. Very quickly, guys, double check that you've hit the like button. We need 200 likes super fast. That's hurting us right now. Try to get that like count up. We've done a second stream today. We came from the Chronos New Dawn gameplay, and we're a little laxing on the likes. Make sure you're doing that. To each their own, I guess. Yeah, everybody's going to be different. I mean, what do you think the strongest PlayStation game is this gen? What do you think the strongest game is from PlayStation this gen? My dude's got to chill. It's not that serious. Hang on. What's he saying, Sven? LOL, loving crap doesn't make you a person who thinks by himself. You just got bad taste. Yeah, I mean, Lord Horg, I don't know why you're insulting somebody for liking Starfield. Like, you know what I mean? How am I a hater? I played the game on Game Pass. It was boring. Well, you're a hater because of the way that you've been communicating with somebody simply because they like Starfield. Like, there are people who have put thousands of hours into, like, World of Tanks. I mean, I would never do that, but I wouldn't say they're stupid and don't have taste. Like, there are people that have put hundreds, if not thousands of hours into Starfield, and they've loved it. That's their prerogative. I mean, some people just really, really like a Bethesda RPG. It speaks to them, you know? And I play it and feel like I'm playing something that's archaic. I mean, it just, everybody's different. A single gift that comes in from Joker Quinn, making the 20 bomb and Agent of Chaos. I'm not really... Joker Quinn has like a vendetta against Stonespire. Every time Stonespire sets up the dunker, Joker Quinn nudges it beyond. He was talking trash too. How was he talking trash? I feel like Dudeness was talking about how much he liked Starfield. Where do you feel like he talked trash? I have 1,000 hours in Starfield. I don't actually play loading screens. He said, like I said, let me know when No Man's Sky actually has an in-depth story and lore with people and aliens that I can talk to and have follow me and better combat on foot and in your ship. So he's clearly saying, hey, I like these things in Starfield. Let me know when No Man's Sky does that. And then you insulted him. He said, I can actually think for myself. He says, it's clear you've never played and you only hear and believe what other people tell you. Don't need to tell you it's a good game already. Keep hating. And I care what you think. I have bad taste. Maybe you do. Like, Lord Horg, I hate to be that guy, but you started it, brother. Like, he wasn't talking trash. He was explaining why he liked the game, and you told him he had no taste. Have some self-awareness. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's people like you that, like, there's a time where, like, I'm like, I wish I could take your badge away. You know what I mean? Like, you're in my chat with, like, a long-standing badge, and you're just being like a doucher. You're like, oh, this guy likes Starfield. Well, you have no taste. And then when he defends himself, you're like, well, he was talking trash, too. No, he wasn't. He was explaining why he liked Starfield. You know what I'm saying? Like, let a person like Starfield. Who cares? Let him like Starfield more than No Man's Sky. You know, let him say, hey, No Man's Sky doesn't do any of these things. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's not incorrect by pointing out, like, hey, there's all these things you can do in Starfield that you can't do in No Man's Sky. You know what I mean? Like, and like Will Smith says in Men in Black, don't start, none won't be none. Like, you went in on him, and then he defended himself. You're like, he was talking trash. It's like, well, no, you immediately told him he had no taste. I can't believe this guy got defensive after I immediately insulted him for his preferences. Like, what the frick? You know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make any sense to me. Where do you find somebody who enjoys Starfield and No Man's Sky? That's what I'm saying. I wish I had time for No Man's Sky. I do. I wish I had time for No Man's Sky. Like, I look at it and I'm like, oh gosh. If I could just play that game for 8 hours a day, you know. I think Returnal would be the one so far for me too. That's PS5 only, but this gen will be long and my answer will definitely fluctuate. I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think right now Returnal has just been the game that really it just feels like a more forward-thinking game, a more creative game. Not that they weren't creative in Forbidden West, Spider-Man 2, Ragnarok. They certainly were creative. But you're going to be a little bit more limited within your creation when it's a sequel. You know what I mean? Guys, take a quick second and hit that like button. Try to get us to 200 likes. I was playing Ace Combat in VR and sold. It made me sick. Yeah, some VR games are a little bit too much, a little bit too fast moving. I meme about it a lot, and I get contentious about it. I genuinely like it, and I'm sorry, get into it with others about it. I think one of the best things to do with like a game that you enjoy, like I think it's okay to defend it if like somebody tells me they think that like Tsushima's combat sucks. I'm going to be like, okay, you need to explain what you mean by that, because I think it's phenomenal. If somebody said they felt like, you know, the movement and the shooting in Returnal sucked, I'd be like, okay, you need to explain yourself, because you're wrong. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think it's okay to be like, well, what do you mean? Why would you think that sucks? Like, you know, instead of being like, oh, you're wrong, you know, it's great. Like, I don't need to defend it, but I usually am curious, like, what in the world, why would you say that about a game where I feel like that's one of its best qualities, you know? Returnal was the first of that kind I've played. I hope there's a sequel. Are you not aware that they're doing what is essentially a spiritual sequel in Saros? Like, have you not seen the trailer? Like, that is literally not a sequel to Returnal, but it's basically in spirit. It will be a sequel. Like, it'll be another game in that vein. Thank you, Nobody, on Nobody, for 41 months of memberships. I appreciate it so much. Guys, I'm going to double check something right now, and I need you to as well. Make sure it's saving the likes. It's doing that thing where, like, I'm like, hey, y'all, we need likes, and it doesn't move. I feel like when we redirect, it causes issues. All right, I just bumped it, 172, and then I'm going to refresh. Yeah, it just went down by 1. I think there's, like, shenanigans going on. I literally made it go up to 172, refresh, and it went down by 1. Like, I'm not sure what's going on. It's like a monster. It's like eating your likes. It's like, what the heck? It went up for you? Yeah, it just went down for me. And now it's going up on the back end. I think something weird going on. Spiritual successor. You could say spiritual successor. I think that's fine. I think we're saying essentially the same thing. Yeah. I need to get back to Returnal. I got stuck in the first section and haven't went back yet. George, I have a video on this channel. It's a live stream. It's called Returnal Gameplay in 2025. It's extremely helpful, sort of attuning you to what is progressing you and what's not, how you are getting stronger. So if you want to, if you feel like watching that will help you, I did the same thing with Hollow Knight, the first Hollow Knight. I did like an hour stream sort of saying, if you do these things, it'll make Hollow Knight so much more enjoyable. I started with Hollow Knight twice, and somebody helped me with that aspect. And then it got significantly better. And then same thing happened with Death Stranding 1. So if you're trying to get into Death Stranding 1, Hollow Knight, or Returnal, I've got live streams on the channel where I try to show people, here's how I got into this game. So yeah, the like count went up that time. Now it's at 182. We're trying to get it to 200. Do you think it's best to do a sequel or a spiritual successor? I think there's room for all. The reason that I'm glad they didn't do a sequel to Returnal is I felt like it's such a complete package, especially if you do Tower of Sisyphus and you get a lot of the extra story elements from Tower of Sisyphus, like with her mother in particular. I think that is just excellently done, and I don't know what else they could have done with Returnal. Like, I think what they're doing with Saros is the exact right move. It's not the same, but it's similar to what they're doing with Yote. Like, instead of just doing more with Tsushima and Jin Sakai, they're like, no, let's jump ahead 300 years, different location, different person. Saros is kind of that idea about like, well, we're going to do another game like this, but with a different person in a completely different universe and location. Because they did such a great job with Returnal, I am thrilled that that's what they decided to do. Like, it would be a bit of a shame to take something as exceptional as that game and to never do anything like that ever again. It would almost be sad. It'd be like, oh my gosh, you guys just did such a great job with this. Will there be new games announced today? No, it's just 007. It's going to be 30 minutes of gameplay of the new 007 game. Yes. Exactly my thoughts on Yote. Would have loved another Jin game, but his story was done. Yeah, especially if you played the Icky Island, DLC. There was nothing left to do with Jin Sakai other than turn him into some like cliche hero, which he's so much more than that. Like, I really think the people that were upset about that is like, I don't think they played Tsushima and understood it and grappled with the real message of like what Jin Sakai does to become the Ghost of Tsushima. And he becomes a legend that's so much larger if they leave it encased, instead of like, well, now he's got to go somewhere else and basically he's like a superhero now. And it's like, no. It was the right call to leave him in sort of encased as this mythological ghost, which there can then be references to him in Yote. And I think that could be cool. So not every game can be a God of War. Yeah, not every game, functions as a continuation. I played Ghost. It was amazing. Included the people that was with him. I'm not sure what you're saying, Perfect Image. We need 13 more likes for 200 likes. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We'll be shifting gears in about 45 minutes. Still plenty to talk about. Still plenty to discuss. His team. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're saying. You've been playing Hell Is Us. I'm loving the game. I wanted so badly to like it, Risik. If combat doesn't hook me, there are so many games that I'm trying to get to. I don't want to try to enjoy a game. Does that make sense? I don't want to have to put in effort to enjoy a game. I'm not saying I don't want to put in effort. I like playing games and I like getting better. But I felt like with Hell Is Us, I was going to have to actively work to enjoy it. A lot of games out of the box, I love it. Like Shinobi, out of the box, felt fantastic. First Berserker Kazan, I played the demo way back and I was like, this is great. I love this. With Hell Is Us, I feel like I'd have to actively work to enjoy it. And that's just not something I want to do. It's like, yes, I know I could, take the time to, slowly learn how to read those telegraphs, but I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I've got other games I want to play. I'm having more fun with the puzzle aspect of it. Even the people that have liked the game are like, yeah, combat's not that great. And I'm like, well, that kind of is convincing me to put the game on ice. Gaming is dead if there are games you don't like, but this year we are eating good. I don't know how anybody can say gaming is dead or dying. This year is absurd. Gaming in 2025 is absolutely absurd. I don't know how anybody could even keep up. I've got games that I want to go back to that I do not have time to. It's like I'm having to diligently work through games so that I've got time in the calendar when a new game comes out. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Even if you're obsessed with gaming, I don't think you're completing every game that's come out that's of the higher notoriety. You know what I mean? Apparently enemy variety ain't too great, but I'm so down for the mood. Yeah, I don't care about enemy variety in a game like Hell Is Us. I just need the combat to feel good. Like, functionally, it just needs to kind of, like, do its job. Like, as an example, very different game, but similar idea, Hellblade 1. There's not a lot of enemy variety in Hellblade 1, but the enemies do their job and the combat feels good. It's there in service to the game. Hell Is Us, you don't need a lot of enemy variety. I need the combat to feel good and to be in service of the game. And I thought the combat felt bad. It felt clunky, unresponsive. The telegraphs were... I didn't even die. And I was just like, yeah, this just doesn't feel good. You know, I didn't like fail and rage quit. I was just like, yeah, this just doesn't feel good. You know? So. Was saying gaming is dead if all games coming out you don't like. Yeah, if all the games coming out you don't like, that sounds like maybe that somebody that just hasn't realized they're not a gamer anymore. Yuna and Norio wasn't part of his team. Perfect Image, again, I don't know what you're trying to communicate. You're just telling me things about Tsushima. I'm at a complete loss as to what you're trying to communicate. I'm sorry. I'm completely in the dark. You're just like stating random things about the game, which is fine. You can do that, but let me do that. Oh yeah, I was gonna check something real quick. I'm gonna be scheduling the I'm gonna schedule the actual co-stream. I like to separate these so that the co-stream itself can be okay, a separate broadcast. 007 First Light. There we go. Okay. I know a lot of people are a little like either confused or upset that they're doing these third-party state of plays. I would say I much prefer that to them literally doing nothing and then like just twice a year maybe they do something. I thought the Borderlands one was great. You know, I thought it was a good look when then we had the Yote one, right? Happy Cloud Gamer. Is Marlon in chat? You just added Marlon. Are you trying to talk to Marlon right now instead of me? When I was a teen playing WoW, I was saying gamer for life. Now I'm lucky if I can play in the weekdays. I don't know if Marlon's ever stopped by the show. If he's here, hello. But I think maybe you're trying to talk in his chat, which is fine. You just typed the wrong name. Shinsekai story was great, including Yuna and Norio. If you don't remember, it's okay. I do remember. I don't know what you're trying to communicate. I'm super confused, Perfect Image. Yeah, I've said many times I thought a lot of the side stories were fantastic. I loved how Jin was helping his friends process grief and also trying to, you know, there's a thin line between justice and vengeance, and he was trying to help them navigate that. I thought some of those stories were excellent. Like, you know, the monk, the guy with the bow. I loved his story. You know, I'm a huge Tsushima fan. Like, I can't, like, off the top of my head cite lore and backstories, but, like, I remember those stories being amazing, and I remember that tension being very well done. It feeling as though there was, you know, this thin line between vengeance and justice. Goat Gaming says, do you think Gears sales were low because of the age of the game? I don't think it's a bad sign for E-Day, Goat Gaming, no. I have argued that I think E-Day will do very well on PlayStation. I think it's in the vein of like what PlayStation gamers like. I think like people are comparing like Helldivers 2 did incredible on Xbox, sold very well, and then Gears isn't selling as well on PlayStation. I don't think that's a fair comparison. One is a live service game that went viral that did a collaboration with an institutional game called Halo on the Xbox platform. Huge reason for that to sell well and to do well. It was also $40. And Gears of War Reloaded PlayStation Store. The Gears of War score is doing well for it. You know, it's the people that purchased it, same price, $40 as Helldivers. It's got a 4.49 on PlayStation Store. So the people that purchased it are enjoying it and having a good time. I just think a really, really old game getting a remaster or a remake or whatever, there's a bit of a stigma with remasters and remakes, especially in the PlayStation audience. Sometimes they get a little tired of them, understandably. There's been a lot of them. Spider-Man 1 remastered, you know, Horizon remastered, you know, Last of Us 2 remastered, Last of Us 1 remake, Days Gone remaster, you know. There's a bit of a stigma there. Did they announce E-Day for PS? I don't know if they've officially said anything, have they? But I think E-Day stands to be a stronger game and will sell better on PlayStation. I do not think that the Gears of War Reloaded sales figures are some kind of an indictment of the game or like, oh, PlayStation fans don't like it. I don't think so. I like your take on Chronos and horror games in general, losing the scare factor with enemy situations, setting you back with dying multiple times. I think that could be a good vid idea. I appreciate that. And again, I don't think to me I was being critical of the genre. I'm being critical of, not even really critical. I'm explaining why I don't have a good time. You know what I mean? James Gunn announces Man of Tomorrow will be in theaters July 9th, 2027. Nice. Mind you, there are Xbox gamers that left Xbox around and after 360 gen, and that ended that love Gears of War. Oh, they love Gears of War. I'm sorry, I'm one of them, even though I play Xbox games on my PC, ultra-wide Master Race. Yeah, I mean, I thought I had fun playing Gears of War Reloaded with Madam. It certainly is not showing off the power of the PS5 Pro or the PS5. It looks fine. I think E-Day will be a different story. I do. It'll be new. It'll be flashy next gen E, like, you know, if I can use that as a term. You know, I definitely get that. It feels like that would be a good opinion you share with lots of other horror game lovers. We got a comment on my gameplay. You can't scope creep if your game is already gigantic. The Silk Song Effect video. Original Dead Space audio was terrifying when the game came out. I bet it was. I missed that. I played, my first Dead Space was 3. And I know people get upset when they hear that, but I was like, sorry. You know. If we're going to double dip, the pricing's pretty wild. I don't believe they ignored the internet all those years, not for a second. I do. It is how they stayed positive. No, I trust. Yeah, I trust that the guys ignored the internet. Yeah, there's no ADS in Metal Eden. I just finished Shinobi, this guy says on my Hollow Knight video, and want to give this another try. I tried it for 10 minutes a long time ago, and I never thought I'd like this genre of game again. I'm a Souls enjoyer, and this game reminded me of my beloved Dark Souls. I played Salt and Sanctuary and loved 2 for so many reasons. Hope you get into it and enjoy it. Yeah, I hope you get into it and enjoy it. Bungie's going to release their new marathon date this fall. Okay. Okie dokie. Good luck. Good luck. Good luck to you. We found that old lady corpse in Dead Space 3. We did. It was a good time. It was a good time. Reloaded is a game that I would get when it's on sale and I don't have anything else to play. Not really much interest in the Gears franchise as a whole since the OG trilogy. The reboot may breathe. Yeah, I think that's a challenge that Gears of War Reloaded face. Thank you, Savage Sharkbite, for 48 months in a VIP. That's a lot of months. Thank you very much. We're inching closer to that next milestone of 200 members on the week. You can make my wife play Bad Cheese this Friday night. If you guys hit stretch, appreciate you so much. 500 unlocks. My wife coming to a Friday night stream. We appreciate you. It's not a lame-o game, mama. It's like a Steamboat Willie style game, like old-timey cartoon, and it's a horror game. There'll be drinks. I will probably not be scared. I mean, maybe. I do when I get scared. Okay. $20 for Silk Song, providing great value to gamers. Team Cherry is encroaching in goat territory. Oh, encroaching on goat territory. I knew it would be 20. I got that one wrong. I got that one totally wrong. I thought for sure they were going to charge like 30 or 40. Did I hear beer? Yeah, Friday night. You guys got to get to work, okay? You guys got to get to work because 500 unlocks Madam, and then the stretch goal is you can make her play a game. So get those renewals, gift some members, use your primes on Twitch. There's all those things you can do. Help us get to that goal, right? The Friday nights are a blast, and even if you're not there, you can watch it after the fact. Still no price for Silk Song on the PlayStation Store? Oh no, they officially announced it. Yeah, AJ. Team Cherry, the developers, officially announced that Silk Song will be $20. They announced that 2 or 3 days ago, I think. Yeah. Yep. Just kind of crazy. Like I said, I got that one wrong. I thought for certain they were going to walk out and be like, $40. It's a bigger game. It's in high demand. You know what I mean? It's in high demand. Spoiler alert, the new date is it's canceled. If you're having a bad day at work, remember RoboCop. He died at work and they resurrected him so he could go back to work. Whose joke is that? That's somebody else's joke. I've heard that before. You'll never guess what IGN gave Chronos. 7. So is this state of play only covering 007? Yes. It's 30 minutes of gameplay of the 007 game. Yes. So if I had to theorize what's going on, I think the game is going to be very adjacent, not just to Hitman, but to also Uncharted. And I think PlayStation's making a pretty smart choice. They're like, this game is going to strike a chord with our audience. They have a big audience that loves Destiny. And a big audience that probably loves Borderlands. So they did the Borderlands 4 one. It's not surprising at all to me that they're like, hey, let's get that game associated with our platform. Let's get into a marketing contract with them. 007 is a nostalgic idea within games because of GoldenEye. So that's kind of where I think they landed on it. I think they probably saw some of the earlier gameplay and they thought, you know what? Let's get that game, sort of in our marketing lane. I'm a huge 007 fanboy, so hyped for the game. I agree. I'm hoping that's the case. From what I saw, I think that's potentially why they leaned in and said we should do something with this game. Because we know the Hitman games, people enjoy them, but they have something that's kind of like Hitman and Uncharted. I think that'll strike a chord with the PlayStation audience. In the announcement trailer of 007, it looks very like Hitman in the small bits of gameplay was shown in the trailer. Mm-hmm. It's only remastered. Only remastered what? I don't know what you're saying, man, Limbo. I remember when I played the first Hitman, it was amazing. Yeah, I played the newest one, and I was enjoying it. I forget what came out after that made me... When did that come out? IGN gave Chronos a 7. That's not surprising. I feel like I played Hitman a long time ago, now that I'm saying that. Was that back when I was still covering Destiny? Yeah, Hitman 3 gameplay back in 2021. Oh, yeah, I was covering Destiny back then. Yeah, I was still full-time into Destiny coverage. Yeah, we didn't stop covering Destiny until like a month later. Hitman is a walking simulator? I mean, there are probably other ways to admit you don't play games. I mean, that's an interesting way to say that you don't play games. To call Hitman a walking simulator. Never gave Hitman a try. Always been interested. Well, they did a bunch of free updates to it as well. Like, they did a bunch of updates and like post-launch content. It's all like I think it's all just included in the game when you buy it. I think they even renamed it, right? Didn't they? Hitman 3 is not even the name anymore. Hitman 3 renamed. Yeah, Hitman World of Assassination. In January of 2023, they did that, and the contents of the previous 2 Hitman games becoming available free of charge, along with a new roguelike game mode called Freelancer. Yeah. So that's a great one to check out if you've never gotten into Hitman. Just here's a bunch of free value and extra stuff. Yeah, you can do about anything to kill your target. Yeah, there's a lot of different options and freedom and things you can do. Yeah. Yep. Thank you guys for 200 likes. I appreciate it so much. In 30 minutes, we're going to shift gears. I'm going to take a quick break before we do that. Don't go anywhere. Keep smashing the like button and check your primes and your renewals so we can get to that next milestone. You guys are the best. All right, I'm back. Y'all are edging on the likes, huh? 199? Really? I swear y'all mess around with it. It's like we have a group of people that do it like maliciously. Like, take a like away or something. I don't think it's YouTube anymore. I think it's people actively messing with it. It says 201. Now it says 202. No, I mean it. I think people are messing around. I think like it gets close and then they take a like away. I think there's a batch of folks doing that, just being ornery. We're hailing the chair. Everyone always criticizes PlayStation IPs for some reason. I mean, I think there are people that genuinely don't like certain IPs and certain games, but I definitely think there are those that are just do it because they're being, they're just being that way. That's so evil. Why didn't I think of that? Yeah. Hang on, I gotta lower the brightness here. I turned up the brightness on my monitor. I couldn't see anything in Chronos: The New Dawn. I was like, oh my gosh. Okay. Not gonna lie, if I see it at 200 sometimes, I take the like back and then demand chat get us to 200. Solving the problem you created the Bungie way. That's right. Look at my 2 posts. I already did, Wilbur. I responded to the first one. Yeah, I already responded to the first one. I read it in chat. Yeah, Joker Quinn, I would not engage. I think they're trying to have a genuine discussion. It's fine to not like a genre, but don't bash it. Well, I mean, I think that's one of the difficulties within gaming conversations these days is like everything is so black and white that I'll be super ridiculously careful and I'll still get completely misrepresented. I'll be like, it's a me problem. I just don't like the genre, and somebody will be like, this loser hates this game because it's an Xbox game. And I'm like, what? You see what I'm saying? It's not even the meme where you're like, I like waffles, and someone's like, why do you hate pancakes? It's worse than that. It's worse than that. It's like this presumed nonsense. Like they live in a state of it's like they're constantly in the circus. So everything is fireballs and explosions. It can't just be, oh, he doesn't like that genre. So like, it's always turned into that. Like you can be as careful and as charitable. Like it doesn't matter how careful and charitable you are. There are people that's just what they want to do. They just want to be fighting. They just want to be creating discord and dissension. That's what they do. That's what they get enjoyment from. It's the life of a fool. That's foolishness to sow discord and dissension, to lie, to misrepresent. Like they aren't coming to the platforms, these chats, comment sections. They're not approaching it with this idea of like, hey, I'm here to have a conversation and to meet people. They are quite literally there to create discord. That's their purpose. It's not even like it's not even about wanting to see the world burn. It's not even that. They're not creating anarchy. They're not creating chaos. They're sowing discord. Like it's a very particular personality trait. It's the personality trait of a fool. A fool despises wisdom and instruction. They despise, things that are good and worthwhile. So what they do is they create discord because they like that. It's this foolishness. It's this, to constantly have to say, well, that's not what I said and that's not what I think. That's what they want. If you've ever seen people do this, like you'll see them go back and forth, like on Twitter, like they're arguing, right? And usually one of them is constantly saying, that's not what I said. That's not what I think. That's not my point. You're misunderstanding my point. You'll see it. It's like a flat tire in the conversation. Usually, that's an indication that the other side of the argument is a fool. They're doing it on purpose. They're misrepresenting, straw manning, false framing, they're sowing discord. They're not trying to have like an actual conversation where they're seeking to like understand. So like if somebody comes to me and says, I hated Returnal, and I'm like, oh, why? What about it didn't you like? And if they're like, well, all PlayStation games are the same. Well, do you see, like, it doesn't sound to me like they're trying to have like a good faith discussion where like there's genuine reasons to not like Returnal, one of my favorite games. Like there's genuine reasons. So for me, I take the posture of seeking to understand. Oh, well, what didn't you like about it? Because then I would say definitely avoid these games over here, because I can sort of deduce what you like, what you don't like, etc. If that makes sense. Ryan HD Gamer starting a combo over here on purple. Thank you so much for that. So I love the shadow boxing term. Yeah, there's shadow boxing going on. And a lot of the times it won't even be that way. It will be, like today what happened with Chronos. I could not have been more charitable. I could not have been more balanced and nuanced, right? They did this. I list all the things they're doing a great job with, and then I speak personally. I'm like, for me personally, this is why I struggle to get immersed in these games. I will bet you money that ends up getting misrepresented and gets turned into something that it's not, and it gets false framed and turned into, false fodder for claims that he's a tourist that doesn't play games, because these are fools who seek to create discord and falsehood. Like that's their goal. And so that's why in the discussion, I just kept going back to the facts. Like, I was like, listen, I'm not being critical of the game. I'm not being critical of the genre. I even said, I think people who like this genre will like Chronos. I think that they will. They're doing a lot of things, in my estimation, they were doing a lot of things excellently. It's kind of like me watching gameplay of Tokone Fighting Souls, Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls, and I can see all the quality. It looks so good, but I also know I wouldn't enjoy that game. Like, I don't enjoy fighting games. I'd spend 5 minutes in that game and I'd get my clock cleaned and I'd be like, yeah, I'm good. I'll go play something else. I've never been particularly fond of fighting games. I've never been particularly good at them. Not since like Saberwolf and KI Gold, and now have I been able to like really put up a good fight in a game, or like Fei Long and Super Street Fighter. Well, that's a lifetime ago, right? And even then I didn't like the games that much. Those are just the guys that I got pretty good with. So, but I can look at Marvel Tokone Fighting Souls and I can be like, it looks like a quality game. It looks like the fighting community is going to absolutely love it, while also saying, yeah, I don't really like those games. I don't really get into those, to those games. They're just not my cup of tea. I like Returnal. I just don't have all the time to get into it. I'm going to check out your video on it. Yeah, it might help you get into a headspace where you feel progress. Once you feel a sense of progress in Returnal, it has a greater likelihood. I'm not saying it will. It has a greater likelihood of getting its hooks in you. It'll get its hooks in you. You'll be like, oh, wow, I have a sense of progression now. This is one of the reasons why I think something they're stressing in Saros is a sense of permanent progression. Like they want you to feel like you're making progress more tangibly than you do in Returnal. You're making progress in Returnal, but it's not as obvious. Lono, it wasn't you. I like horror games. Chronos looked mid. The pacing was definitely off. Go back and play RE2 to see horror done correctly. I actually really liked RE2 Remake. I really did. What's the bad cheese thing? So let me see if we can't. Let's stoke the membership fires here with a bad cheese trailer. Let's see if we can't get you guys to rally around this. All right, here you go. All right, so this is bad cheese, because Steamboat Willie is now public domain. It is a horror game set in this art style. Now, we've seen the Mouse PI for Hire game, and this game is also out. They sent me a code, And you can make Madam play this on Friday night if we hit stretch. So Angry Pete says, guys, let's get to work. And he gifts a member. He's like, come on, boys. We got to make Madam play this. So come on. Twitch, YouTube, rally around the goal here. Let's make Madam play Big Cheese. The goal of the game is, I believe, to keep Daddy happy. Like, yeah. Be on your best behavior and keep Daddy happy is the goal of Big Cheese. So, yeah, thank you, Angry Pete. Let me add that to the total. So, let's get the singles, the renewals, the Twitch primes, the 5 bombs, the big bombs. Let's get them going here. Let's make Madam play that on Friday night. Kronos is doing a lot of things I like, but just like with Dead Space, I am not into the walk super slow while enemies move at 3 times speed. And I think that's helpful for me to provide that feedback, because I think other people who resonate with my feedback and they resonate with my viewpoint, they're 100% going to be helped by that video. And Angry Pete gifts another one. He gets us to 185, exactly 15 from the next milestone. Thank you so much, Angry Pete. I appreciate it. I'm still gifting every 25. I'm doing a single member every 25. So thank you so much for that, Angry Pete. I love the passion that comes from the fighting game community. It's the reason I enjoy Maximilian Dude's fighting game content, even though I don't play them anymore. Stuff like this is why I support companies holding on to intellectual property indefinitely. Shut up, man. Heck says that's some twisted. It is. It looks crazy. Kronos and Hell Is Us. Not sure which to choose first. And a Member Plus renewal from Lord Horg. Alien Isolation is my kind of horror game. See, and that's where I can't. I tried Alien Isolation and I just didn't like it. I felt like I was just running and hiding. And I know that's like, for some people, that's like horror survival royalty. Like, people love that game. And I was in the mood for a horror game because I was coming out of Resident Evil 7 and Layers of Fear. And I tried Outlast and didn't like it. And I tried Alien Isolation. And people like, you're not scared? I'm like, no. I'm running and hiding in a locker. Like, it didn't create the tension and the intensity. Is it keep Daddy happy or keep Daddy happy? I don't know. It's in all caps in the description. Subnautica is the best horror game. Fight me. Yeah. You love Outlast? Yeah, it just didn't do it. Like, the first 10 minutes I was super immersed, and then I got in this basement, and Jotun Slayer Hordes of Hell is now available on Steam. It's a survivor type game, also action roguelike. It's got a 85%. Its recent reviews are at a 93. I feel like that one's coming to console, isn't it? I feel like it is. It's on sale right now for $11.99. Helldivers 2 is now a horror game. I saw the what are they calling it? The big hive, whatever it is. It seems insane. I don't know how they're even going to remotely do damage to it. It seems crazy. All right, we're going to shift gears in 12 minutes. We'll start a new stream. The caves are really cool. I look spooky underground. What's funny is a lot of people had that idea. Like, the community was very much in support of, like, take us underground, limit the ordnance that we can bring down, I love the Helldivers trailers. I thought it was funny when the one guy fell off in the friendly fire shots. Yeah, the friendly fire was such a huge aspect of what made the game enjoyable. Because at first I was really worried. I was like, I don't know. I was like, that can really sour it, especially if you get into matchmaking and people can be kind of dumb. But I feel like they did a great job with it. Is the game similar to RE4 Remake? Well, I'm not sure what you're asking about. If you're asking about Chronos the New Dawn is a lot like Dead Space. That's where I would set it if you're interested in something like that. It has that vibe very much. By the way, you guys, we have access to a hype feature. I believe you can only do it on mobile. If you're ever watching one of my uploads, you can hype it up and you can help promote it because they're helping smaller channels with this. So if you watch my recent video, the Silk Song effect, if you pull it up on mobile, feel free to use that new cool feature and hype up the video. You guys can throw your support behind videos in that way. It doesn't cost anything. It's just a feature that they've added to YouTube. Chronos is not like Dead Space. Dead Space is good. Well, you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying one's bad or good. I'm just saying that's the kind of game that ends up being. I forgot that games where you could create guns and have different types of ammo. Forgot the title of it. A game where you could create guns and have different types of ammo. Did Lono already discuss or give an opinion on Destiny Rising? I haven't done anything with it. I'm not going to play it. I have no desire to play it or do anything with it. Yeah. Sophie Turner will officially star as Lara Croft in the live-action Tomb Raider. Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Chad Hodge will serve as showrunners. Jonathan Van Tulken of Shogun will direct the series. I mean, that's a great director. Coming from Shogun, I just don't think Sophie Turner is going to look like Lara Croft. I don't think it's going to work at all. I just don't. She doesn't have the frame for it. I don't know. You need someone that can kind of be the combination of like athletic and buxom. And I don't know. I've always thought they missed the boat with Lauren Cohen by not having her. She's got the accent and everything. She looks the part. I don't think Sophie Turner is going to look the part. I think Sophie Turner is a fantastic actor, but I just don't think she's going to be able to embody Lara Croft. And obviously people are going to turn it into something else because of, other things that Lara Croft is, sort of famously known for. I think they could have landed in a happy medium personally, but oh yeah, Void Breakers came out. Yeah. Did it? I think you have to put the hashtag in it. Why does it do this? What is this Google Chrome thing that they do? It's Void Breaker. It's not plural. Void Breaker is out now on Steam with a 92%. It's out in early access. Now, if memory is correct, this is coming to console, but I don't know if it's out yet. It looks like it's planned for next year. So you can play it in early access right now. So this is the one that had like the destructible... What the heck did I push? This has like the destructible environments. It's an FPS roguelite with destruction and gun customization. And again, it's in early access right now on Steam with a really good score, a 92% for $20. It is single player. They have it bundled with Entropy Center. Entropy Center is like a time travel portal game. Yeah. I tried the demo. It felt really good. Yeah, I'm anxious to play that one. I thought it looked really, really good. Oh, there is a game called that I put a lot of time into, and then they took my whole crew away. It was Void Bastards 2, I believe. Oh, no, Wild. It's called Wild. There is Void Bastards. That is a game. But I played, I played this game on PlayStation. I put a good chunk of time into it, and then they took my whole crew away, and I got annoyed. It's got a 76%. I was really enjoying it, but I wonder what kind of a score it got on PlayStation. Let's see, because it has a 76% on Steam. It has an 86 on PlayStation, but it doesn't have very many scores. It only has 250 scores. Reviews, I mean. Have you seen her in X-Men? She acts like a paper bag. She's given lines that are iconic. She doesn't make lines iconic. I feel like from what I saw of her in Game of Thrones, she did fine. I definitely didn't think she did very good in X-Men, but I wasn't sure if that was her fault. So I just don't. I don't know. Here's the thing about Lara Croft. Okay. I don't necessarily think it has to be like the focal point of the character that she's like busty or buxom. That doesn't have to be the focal point. But I think it's part of the character. Like I do. I think it's part of the character because it's meant to be like, it's meant to be a juxtaposition. It's kind of like Harrison Ford is a very good-looking man, but then he's also Indiana Jones. He's a professor, and he's going out and finding all these things, right? I think it's part of what makes Indiana Jones a cool character. He doesn't look like some pencil-neck nerdy geek. You know, Harrison Ford is a stud. And I think part of what made Lara Croft a character that people paid attention to, especially as time went on, and even when they rebooted it, was she's very attractive, she's buxom, and she's also raiding tombs. And she's having to learn how to fight, and she's using a bow, or she's using guns, or whatever. And I think that's part of the character. I think that's part of her story. She wasn't that busty in the new Tomb Raider games, though. No, she was more realistic, but she had an athletic build. So my issue with Sophie Turner is she's so petite, I don't know if you'd be able to make it believable that she's like scaling mountain walls and climbing things. Like the way that they portrayed Lara Croft in the reboots is she had almost like a ninja warrior build. If you've ever watched that show, like you believe that she could like scale the edge of a cliff and not fall. And that she'd be able to fight and do some damage if she took you by surprise, because she gets like the mountain climbing hook or whatever, and you know she's hitting people with it. There doesn't seem to be anything all that imposing about Sophie Turner. She's very petite. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not even being critical of what she looks like, but like she needs to sell the idea of like action sequences, fighting, climbing, like. And I don't know if she's going to be able to do that. She doesn't really have that build. Now she could, you know, she could do some physical training and end up looking like that. When I look at Lara Croft, I think you need to be a little bit more imposing, and I think you need to be a little bit more buxom. You need to have that element of like, you know, there's a level of attractiveness that I think has to be in place. I don't think we need to get into this like they're making her ugly and it's woke. I mean, if to say that Sophie Turner's ugly is absurd. I think she's very pretty, but I don't know. I looked at Lauren Cohen and I always thought that's literally Lara Croft. That's it. That's she looks like her. She's got the build. She's pretty. She looks like she could be imposing if she trained. You know, she did a great job in The Walking Dead. Angelina Jolie was fine. Again, I think she was more of the caricature of Lara Croft, like super busty, femme fatale. I think you can go a little bit more in the middle ground you know. Yes, the state of play is just 007. Yes. What was that side-scroller game you were showing on stream about an hour ago? I don't... Shinobi Art of Vengeance? Was it Shinobi? I think Shinobi's the only side-scroller I've shown today. All right, we're going to shift gears. Let me get my scene set. Okay. You're loving Shinobi? Yeah, Shinobi's so good. Yeah, we're going to switch gears to the new stream. So help me out here. This stream was a little funny. I don't know if YouTube was having an issue or not, but our waiting rooms have usually been very different than this. This is a very odd stream. So let's see if we can't rub the paddles together, all right? Go to the new stream and hit the like button. Go crazy. Let's get this new stream kind of cooking, all right? Thank you so much for checking out this video. This is going to be my official co-stream of the State of Play 007 First Light gameplay deep dive. Now, if you're watching this later, you can clearly see, skip ahead 30 minutes so you can watch it. It's going to be 30 minutes of gameplay. So I'm excited to see what they do with this. I feel it's going to be like the intersection between like a Hitman and an Uncharted, which I think is why PlayStation wanted to do this as a state of play. I feel like they think this is going to really appeal to their core audience. So if you are watching this later, make sure you hit subscribe and the bell button so you can be here for the daily talk shows and discussions. I also checked out Chronos, the new Dawn gameplay today. If you want to check that out, it's an hour if you want to get a feel for the first hour of the game. I'm going to end the previous stream where we were doing a waiting room for this event, and I'm going to bring folks over with Reed